The Tudor Black Bay Pro was one of the biggest releases this year at Watches and Wonders, and luckily enough I actually visited Tudor at Watches and Wonders and managed to get hands-on with this piece. It's pretty awesome, so let's talk about it. Welcome back to Time on the Wrist at Chisholm Hunter. My name is Harrison, as always, and today we are going to do a quick review of the Tudor Black Bay Pro. Believe it or not, at home I actually own two Tudor watches, and you'll see that I have nothing on my wrist today because I actually got it out the safe last night specifically for today, and I left it on my bedside table. Let's begin with the case diameter on this watch, and that's actually something that stood out to me straight away at Watches and Wonders when I managed to get it on the wrist. It actually comes in at 39mm in diameter. Now, this is pretty perfect, especially for me. I have 6.5-inch wrists, so it sits wonderfully on the wrist. I would normally tap out or not go above about 42mm, maybe 43 at a push. This does fit really well. The thickness on this model comes in at 14.6mm, and that's a little bit thicker than I was actually expecting. It's also a little bit thicker than other Black Bay models in the range, but there are a couple of reasons for this. The slightly deeper case is due to the fact that the watch contains the caliber MT5652. This is Tudor's manufactured movement with an integrated GMT function and a jumping hour hand both back and forth. The lug-to-lug comes in at 47mm. When you combine that 47mm lug-to-lug with the 39mm diameter, you get quite a compact piece. It is quite a durable piece. I would feel quite comfortable wearing it on my wrist, up hills, exploring. It is a kind of all-rounder. The case and the bracelet come in 316L stainless steel. Now, for those of you that know me, you'll know that I actually prefer stainless steel to other metals. For example, titanium. Titanium is obviously lighter, but it's also a little bit darker. And I feel that steel kind of draws the eyelet a little bit more and reflects the light a little bit more vibrantly. We've covered the specs, we've covered the case, we've covered some of the bracelet. We'll go on to the bracelet in a bit more detail later, but let's get onto that bezel. The bezel is a 24-hour graduated fixed bezel in satin brushed steel. It has a sunray satin finish on the bezel. They've actually used the satin spun finish before on the Black Bay steel, but this is a new type of finishing on the Pro. This watch actually operates in 2 time zones instead of 3. This is due to the 24-hour graduated fixed bezel. Before we go any further, it's important to say that Chisholm Hunter are actually authorized retailers for Tudor watches. If you want to shop any watches in the collection, make sure you click the link below. The crown on this model has actually been reworked. It's closer to the case and more rounded. It's actually easier to grip. And if you look really closely, the knurling has actually been enhanced for ease of use when spinning that crown or when popping the crown out. Let's dive straight into that dial for a second. So when you look at the dial, the first thing you'll notice is that it's obviously in black. But the second thing you'll notice, and one of the most striking features on this dial, is that it has a yellow GMT hand. Now against the black, this stands out wonderfully, and it's a really nice splash of color. The indices and hands, of course, have super luminova, and the indices on the dial actually have no surrounding. They almost have no cupping to them, and are made out of a monoblock ceramic index with a blue luminescence. I know that this is a small point, and it's a little detail, but when it comes to luxury, the little details are what matters. This technique almost makes like a 3D effect, and it means that the lume can be seen from the side and above. Now, I've not seen this on any other watch brands as of yet, and it's just a really nice feature. The hands and the indices kind of have a sandy, kind of beige look, and it gives it a kind of patinaed vintage feel. And I quite like this. It's almost like you can hand it down the generations and it will never age because it already looks vintage at the point of getting it, if that makes any sense. This model also has a waterproofness of 200 meters, which is obviously supported by that screw down crown. So if you want to go into the shower or to the sea, you'll probably be fine. The bracelet on this model is a riveted steel bracelet with polished and satin finished. Or you get the option of a hybrid rubber strap and also a leather strap with a folding clasp and safety catch. Or a black fabric strap with a yellow band and buckle. My personal favorite here is the hybrid rubber strap. I'm just a huge fan of rubber straps, and they're more durable to me. This model actually features the Tudor T-Fit clasp, which gives a total of 8mm micro adjustments to the clasp in 4 positions of 2mm each. This also results in the redesigned clasp, which I'm a huge fan of, and I think really adds to the aesthetics of this Tudor model. It kind of adds to that vintage look. The movement in this model is the caliber MT5652, which is an in-house movement to Tudor. It's a self-winding mechanical movement with a bi-directional rotor system. This movement is actually 40% better than standard COSC certification and runs to -2 from -2 to +4 seconds a day. This movement also beats at a frequency of 28,800 VPH and has 28 joules. It has a 70-hour power reserve, and of course, it has a silicone hairspring, making this movement a bit of a powerhouse. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit this subscribe button. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Time the Wrist at Chisholm Hunter. We're going to be back in about 3 days with another video, so make sure you hit that little bell. Pretty excited about what we have coming next, actually. The channel has been unbelievable. You guys have been unbelievable. The comments are brilliant. I love reading through them. And that's pretty much all I've got. So I'll see you soon.